Now, if he's working on these, does that mean they're not going to be KOS anymore? No, they're still all KOS. Bookshelves! I want to grab all these bookshelves, so let's come in here and kill these. And then I need you to go say good morning, because my grandniece is awake. Do these really not have anything in these bookshelves? I'm disappointed. Yeah, this one was not cheap, Ali. The saving grace was that I used my, notice that I didn't own one up until this point. We don't need it, and Chris does not let me buy things unless we need them. I got away with this because when I got my PlayStation 5 insurance money back, I had already bought the PS5 Pro as my one of my expenses for the year, and since it was a business write-off, I didn't want to use. This is when you get into tax stuff. I didn't want to use the insurance refund to purchase the new PS5 because I wanted to have that as a tax deduction purchase. So I went ahead and spent my normal money on the PS5 Pro replacement. That way it's a tax deduction. And then I used the insurance money to go buy, we bought an air fryer. Fuck, what? Oh, a crock pot. We bought a slow cooker. We bought a slow cooker, an air fryer, and then like 2 weeks worth of groceries because they gave me like a preloaded credit card. So I bought an air fryer, and I kind of went all out. I went and bought like not the top of the line because we didn't need like a massive one, but I got a Ninja, couple $100. Normally it was on sale. So yeah, but otherwise we weren't going to spend money on one because Chris is always like, oh, I don't have a problem, because she likes to cook and she doesn't have a problem with it. So she's never used it, and she literally refers to it as, it's your air fryer. I'll probably never use the damn thing. And I'm just like, fair enough. But I've already done, we've cooked short ribs in that slow cooker already. I just made spaghetti. I made red sauce, I should say, not spaghetti, but I made red sauce a few days ago, which actually I ate for the last 3 days. Today will be the first day. I don't think there's any left. I think I've just got a bunch in the freezer now.
As soon as our scouts sent word that people were emerging from the quarry, I hurried down to see what was happening. So, where's that damned elf, and what did he do?
Dwarven ruin.
Dwarves? That's the last thing I expected. From the stories I've heard, things involving ancient ruins and dwarves never turn out well.
I don't disagree. Oh, dang it. I accidentally closed a window. Nerma was able to get them under control.
Then the elf survived? Perfect. That means I still get to wring his scrawny neck. Wait a moment. What's that sound? Troll dung, it's the constructs! The damn elf betrayed us!
Oh, actually, he just wants to... Is he gonna come out, hopefully,
to
and
arms,
explain
my
himself?
Clanmates. Let's show this mad elf what we think of his dwarven army.
Don't be alarmed. I bring a gift. These constructs can work your quarry and build a great city of Orsinium.
Damn you, elf. I should kill you where you stand.
What did I say? Please, my friend, make her see reason.
He got half my workers killed, and now he insults us as well? The elf's blood price is steep, and he's going to pay it very slowly.
He's just trying to help.
Greystone Quarry belongs to Clan Tumnosh. It should be worked by Clan Tumnosh, not those metal monsters. As long as one Tumnosh lives, we'll extract stone from this quarry just the way Malakath intended.
So going back to what Ali says, here's a good one for you. I don't have an espresso machine for that exact reason as well, and we didn't get an air fryer until this year. I've wanted an air fryer for years, I just never bought one. I've wanted an espresso machine for years, but this is what Chris tells me. You have two mocha pots. If you don't know what a mocha pot is, it's the ones, they're from Italy. They're you put them on the stove, you make espresso. It's just a coffee. It's a mocha pot. I don't know what they call them. Like it's like you make coffee in it. It's pressure. Anyway, we have two. We have a small one that we use for the two of us, and then we have one that we break out when there's company. And she's like, you can make espresso with your mocha pot. You don't need to spend $300 on an espresso machine when you already have these mocha pots that we bought for, one was like $40 and then was like $80. She's like, you've already spent, they work, they'll last the rest of our lives. You don't need an espresso machine. And I'm like, damn it. I really want to just be able to go into the kitchen and just be like, pss, and this is what I've tried to do to sell it to her because she loves cappuccinos. And I'm like, you could make your cappuccinos. And she knows how to run the machines because she used to work at a cafe. And so I was like, you could totally make the cappuccinos that you love to have. She's like, no. Plus, we don't have space. And I'm like, oh, we'll make space.
With orc
I haven't
sweat
convinced
and
her
orc
yet.
muscle. We dishonor ourselves and our ancestors if we sat back and let machines do all the work for us. It figures
Oh,
that
I
an
have the
elf would
persuade
come up
option
with such
here.
a disgraceful and dastardly plan.
Take the constructs at your blood price and use them until you regain your strength.
Their worth is considerable, and we'd be able to keep our quotas as we build back up.
Do 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 do. Level 44. Oh, I already have two. We have two French presses, two mocha pots. Yeah, we're good on the coffee machine thing. But I will maybe convince her one day. We'll see. We really don't have space. It's not. She's not wrong about that. We really don't have space. Like our kitchen is so tiny that when I want, so I keep like the slow cooker, the air fryer, and our electric oven are in the storage room. And when I want to use one, I go get it out of storage room and bring it out and put it on. We have some tables that we have set up, or the counter, depending on where there is available space. But they don't just stay out. Like they get pulled out to be used and then cleaned up and put back away when we're not using them. So yeah, we don't have like a big kitchen where everything is out and like the machine, and like an espresso machine would be another thing that we just literally have no space for.
Outsider. I confess I had my doubts, but my forge wife
All
tells
right, you can attend.
Oh, very well.
All right. By the way, you're a lazy bitch. I'm gonna take a piss outside of your building on the corner just to leave my mark. Let you know that you're not actually the clan chief that you think you are. Psst. All right. We have one more chief to recruit, which is way the frackin' north of here. Let me go say good morning to my grandniece, and then we will continue onwards. I never have gotten into iced coffee too much. Yeah, my brother does drip coffee. He's got it. They've got a fancy set up a timer so it starts brewing coffee at 4 o'clock every morning, so that when they roll out of bed at 4:30, there's already a pot of coffee made. Whereas we use a French press, so I actually have a kettle. So we heat the water up in a kettle. So the first thing I do every single morning, my morning routine is the alarm goes off at 3. I stumble out of bed. I go into the kitchen. I put the kettle on. Then I feed all the cats. Check the litter boxes to see if I need to clean the litter boxes. And then come in the bedroom, turn all the machines on. Bedroom / office, whatever. And then sit down here and just sort of wake up with the machines until the kettle starts screaming. And then I go grab the kettle, fill the French press, bring Snow White into the house so that she can have her house time. And then I usually start my stream. That usually takes about 30 minutes to do all of that. And then Chris usually handles the second pot. I always say pot of coffee. It's not a pot of coffee. Chris makes the second batch of coffee after breakfast. And then we usually have afternoon espressos at around 4 or 5 p.m. Man, I kind of do want to harvest all this stuff.
What might you make with that?
Something big and cool. Don't worry about it, kitty cat.
The potential for health or harm.
Oh, maybe not jump off the cliff. Oh no, there's a giant. Oh no, run. Oh, there's a bridge. But I don't think it's gonna lead me where I need to go. I think I need to somehow figure out a way to move down. That was a bigger jump than I meant to make. Oh my god! I cannot believe I survived that. Oh, that was awesome. By the way, this is some really cool level design. Like, this has definitely been my favorite zone so far. Did it just say that I unlocked a way shrine somehow? I guess just by proximity. Boop, boop.
For something to attack, or something to protect.
Or keep your nose out of my business, kitty cat. Better to weave. Alright, let's solve the problems of this clan as well. Dude, do we have another lazy chief who's just hanging out in the lodge getting drunk? Nope, nope, did not mean to steal. Thankfully, it has a setting to where you can tell it not to auto loot stolen items. That could have been embarrassing. Unfortunately, it will be stealing from this place. What's my schedule? I stream from about 3:30, 4 o'clock. I mean, I'm usually live by no later than 4. I usually stream from 4 to 8, and then at 8 o'clock, I usually leave the stream, go help Chris. We walk our grandniece to school. I then do my exercises, have breakfast. Um, Sometimes I will do a second morning stream, but more often than not, what happens is after I work out, have breakfast, and take a shower, I'm ready for sleep. So that's usually by about, and then we run errands if we have to run errands. So 10 o'clock, 10:30, I usually go down and lay down and sleep until about noon. And then I get up at noon, and usually, just depending on the day, I'll do video production for a few hours, and then I'll come back and do another stream at about 4 o'clock. Um, Other days I'll start a stream at like noon or like 1 o'clock, and then stream until like 4 or 5, and then do video production. So like yesterday I streamed from like 1 until 4. Today I have a meeting at noon, so today it will be noon until 2. I have a meeting, and then I'll probably come back and do another stream at like 4. Oh yeah, I'm in bed very early. Usually I'm in bed by 7:30, asleep by 8:30. It's very rare for me to be awake past 8:30. 9 o'clock is like the maximum for me. This one is answering the silent call of lonely possessions. Nice, Thaindar. But yeah, I go to bed early. Like, early to bed, early to rise. And as the fisherman quote says, fish like hell and make up lies. But yeah, we all go to bed pretty early around here. I'm usually the first one to bed, but Chris and our grandniece usually will stay up a little bit later, but they're usually both asleep by 9 o'clock. Sometimes they'll stay up till about 10. But I get up at 3. I was getting up at 4, but I changed my alarm to 3 recently, and the reason is because I haven't been able to do exercises for a year and a half because of my leg injury. I'm finally able to start doing exercises again, so over the past couple of months I've been slowly getting back into doing stuff, and so last week I started running again for the first time in a year and a half, and it's not long runs, but so I'm trying to get out there at like 8 o'clock in the morning, at the latest, to go down to the river and do my run and stuff, and then come back. And on the days when I do stuff here, I'm watching Stargate SG-1, the rewatch, and I just do like some stuff here in the office, like push-ups and squats and lunges and shit. And then I go to another park where I go do pull-ups twice a week, along with a bunch of lunges. I do 100 lunges. I don't know. It's very slowly. I'm also, I'm not trying to. I just trying to get back to being healthy again after that leg injury took a lot out of me. That was my first ever debilitating injury of my life. Not fun. Not fun. But it's also nice being able to be, on the mend and being able to even think about getting back to doing stuff because I couldn't before. So. You gotta conquer the day. I've just always, I've been camera facing, making a living on the internet since 2008. And I have just always found, even before Chris and I were together, I've always lived in cities. And until the last few years, I've always been doing, because I always managed a travel blog. I managed a travel blog for years. And so what was really great for me was getting up very early. There's no noise, there's no traffic, there's nothing. And I did my client work early in the day. So I would, get up at 4, be done with client work by 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. And then I was at the beach, going to the gym, get all that out of the way so that by 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm ready to then go out and do my photography and videography for the day. And then I come back when it's hot, because I've, in the last 15 years, being in a tropical environment, by 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, you don't want to be outside. It's too fucking hot. So by like 11 o'clock, I want to be inside in the air conditioning, and then I'm doing work that I don't need to be outside for. And then by 6 o'clock in the afternoon, I can go out and do stuff again in the afternoons. And that schedule always varied slightly, but it just carried over into what I do now. And when we were living in Mexico City, Chris likes to stay up late. She'll stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning if she has the option to, but then she'll get up at like 10 o'clock. But here she keeps a similar schedule to me just because she has all the animals to take care of. And now that we're watching the grandniece, there's that on top of it as well. But I always liked just getting up early and getting shit done, because it's like everybody else is like going to work at 10 o'clock in the morning, and my day is pretty much, I'm done with my client work by 10 o'clock, and then I can go do my work. I haven't had client work in years now, but I still do enjoy. I get a sick pleasure from being the person that's up and getting things done when other people are still sleeping. There's a weird rush I get from it. I guess it's probably the same rush that guys like Dwayne Johnson get when they go to the gym and pump iron. You hear Arnold talking about, oh, pumping iron, and I'm like, yeah, getting up early, yeah. You're still in bed, sleeping like a little bitch, you know. And it doesn't really matter. The only difference is, instead of going to bed at 11 and sleeping till 7, I go to bed at 7 and get up at 3. It's just, you're still sleeping 6, 7 hours or whatever. Man, I still can't hire a frickin' forager hireling until it's gonna be a while.
I could use a break.
I know you. You're one of those outsiders that Kurag brought to our land.
But the one thing I've never lacked
I've
for
heard
is
you've
I'm
done
very
some
good at
amazing
self-motivation.
feats,
So
but I'd rather you didn't linger in
I
my
think honestly it's
stronghold.
because I got kicked out when I was so young and I had to live. So it's like I learned very early on that lazy people don't eat. And I didn't want to be homeless, so I just learned very early on that just get shit done. Like, lazy people don't get anywhere in life. So I've always been very good at self-motivating. And consequently, that's why I have started 4 companies now, bought and sold companies. I've been fairly successful despite never finishing high school and never going to college. Um, and I think most of it's just like I didn't want to end up homeless. I needed to eat, had to pay rent. I was 16 years old. I had a car payment. I had a rent payment. I gotta fucking eat, keep a roof over my head. And then that just carried through into adult life. I think I've only had, when I was 16, I had a brief window of time where I worked at like McDonald's and Wendy's flipping burgers for like 3 months. And I worked at Walmart for like 3 months. And outside of that, I've always done contract work. And then the last startup that I worked with, which was right before we moved here, I had been working with them for 3 years. as a contractor, and then the third year they hired me on as a full-time salaried employee. So I did 1 year as a salaried employee for them in my, you know, early 40s, and then that's it. Everything else I've ever done has always been contract work. So I've always been freelancing, and like if you're freelancing, you don't have the luxury of a weekly paycheck. So you're always hustling and looking for the next gig, looking for the next opportunity, figuring out a way to evolve because the industry changes every 3 years or more frequently. You have to keep up with the evolution of social media. I mean, I had to learn when I was in my 20s, it was like having to evolve with the internet was an amazing thing because it was like I had to learn how to make a website, I had to learn PHP, I had to learn WordPress, I had to learn social media, get on Facebook, open a Twitter account, then start an Instagram account, learn how to do video editing, learn how to do photo editing, learn how to do photography and videography, get a drone, learn how to do drone photography, then getting into game development, learning world building, having to learn how to do VFX so that I could put VFX into that, and just the constant evolution. I would like to think that I will never stop learning. Um, and I don't think, at least with this, I don't know how long I'll be streaming video games for as a means of earning an income, but I'll do it until I'm bored with it or until it's no longer an option. Usually, what happens is after about a decade of doing something, I get bored with it and I move on to something else. That's been my life's journey so far. Is I'll do something for 7, 8 years, maybe 10 years, then I'm like, you know what? I came, I saw, I conquered. What's the next challenge? Like, I'm not a factory worker who's happy to sit there for 40 years and grind out my pension at a factory. I'm very much, I want to do that, and I already know what I want to do next. It's sort of like a side goal, but it's not a high priority. The next thing for us as a couple is like the forever home, and that will be something that gets documented over on the other YouTube channel, which is our homestead channel, where we've been documenting this place as we've bought it and renovated it, and we bought that other property that we've invested in. That's the next big project for me, is to get to the point where I can then have that project and be working on that and only streaming here for my downtime. But we're still several years away from that, so I'm going to keep riding this train. I've been doing this I'm almost at 4 years. February will be 4 years. I anticipate another 4 years of this full time, is what I would anticipate. Before I'm able, because we have until I'm 50. I'll be 46 in January, and we have until I'm 50 before we are ready to, that's my cutoff point, is 50 years of age, to be building that forever home or renovating the forever home, depends on where we find the property, and doing all of that. And of course, plans could change. But that's the project I work on in my 50s, is the forever home and renovating that and documented that on YouTube, and then doing this in the spare time. And then once that house is built, I'm going back to writing science fiction and fantasy and that'll be what I do for the rest of my life. At least that's the current idea, is I will just focus the bulk of my energy on writing science fiction and fantasy novels from my mid 50s until I'm dead. And then in between that, I'll be streaming in some fashion, being camera facing. I will be doing something in front of a camera on the internet until I am dead, or I can't for some odd reason. There would have to be, knock on wood, it would have to be something debilitating, but I've been doing something in front of a camera since 2008, so almost 20 years of doing this, making a living on the internet with a camera and a laptop for 20, almost 20, 18 years now. So, I have no idea what form that'll take in another 5 years or in another 15 years or another 20. I have ideas in the back of my head that I'm working towards. Yeah. Well, yeah, having control of your free time is tricky if you have a full-time job, and especially if you have kids and stuff. But we'll just see.
Sorry, but I have problems of my own right now. As long as my forge wife is miserable, I can't deal with anything else. I wonder,
Welcome to
does
married life,
King
Chief.
Kurog have a solution for volatile family disputes? I'd definitely listen to him speak on that topic.
If I assist your forge wife, you'll attend the moot.
If you're brave enough, talk to Lasgal and do whatever she asks. If you can
I appreciate that,
finally get her
Thandar.
to stop yelling at me, I'll go and listen to whatever Kurog wants to.
I should also say it too. I think there's just something to be said about making your own way in life. I have a younger brother who I talk about frequently, and some of you know who he is because we've done game development together, and he's the one who has the cattle ranch, and I help him out with some video editing on their stuff, and I share a lot of their videos in our Discord. He is also extremely entrepreneurial minded, and somebody asked a couple of months ago, I don't remember who it was, but somebody asked me a couple of months ago if he and I would sit down and start like an entrepreneurial podcast. And I was like, well, I don't think he and I have the time to do that. But also, he and I have already done that when we were doing the last project we worked on together, which was our second game studio. When we did the tabletop game and the point and click game and everything else, like we documented that whole process. We were doing weekly stand-ups in, publicly. So we were on a camera every single week for an hour and a half talking about what are the plans for the week ahead, what are we working. So we did our stand-ups publicly, and we documented that whole process through about 3 years of development. And a lot of those discussions were sitting down and talking about, business planning and, but I mean, he is 30, fuck, how old is he? 32? 33? And he is already on, just multimillionaire. And I think he might have been a multimillionaire before he was 30. I would have to confirm that. Now, granted, a lot of that money is tied up in cattle and land and equipment, but on paper, he is a multimillionaire in his early 30s and college dropout, but there is just something to be said for if you have the balls to get shit done and you have a I can't accept failure attitude, you can accomplish a lot of things in life. Drink more coffee. You don't need 12 hours of sleep a night. Stop being a fat fucking slob. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of shit you can get done. But when I say fat fucking slob, I'm being slightly facetious there, because I'm certainly overweight. But I mean, laziness is an issue that plagues society as a whole. Because we have the internet, we have air conditioning, we have Starbucks, we have Keurig coffee machines in our houses, we have devices that are so powerful that they could literally power, the fucking moon space shuttles. We are living in a time of excess and plenty and opportunity that and every generation it gets better. Every generation has it better than the previous generation. And I think that if you're going to live as a human being in the 21st century, if you're squandering that opportunity because you would rather be sitting on the couch watching Netflix, stuffing your face with Cheetos, that's you only have yourself to blame if you're not going out there. And I remember when I used to do public speaking for a living, Gary Vaynerchuk was always someone who I really inspired me personally. And he had a thing where he, talked about this, which was, there are 24 hours in a day. You only need about 6 hours of sleep to be healthy and to function. That leaves you with, like 18 other hours a day. If you work an 8-hour job, let's say you have an hour commute each way, that's another 10 hours of your day. So you've got 6 hours for sleep, 10 hours for your work and commute, and maybe you're a little longer, that we're talking averages here. There's another 8 hours left over for that. Now, let's say you have a wife and kids. You need to spend quality time with your family. So take another 3 hours out of that for your wife and kids, or your husband and kids, or your significant other, date nights and watching a show with your friends, so on and so forth. That still leaves you with 5 hours a day. If you're extremely efficient with your time, that leaves you with 5 hours a day to get shit done. Build your dream life. Take life by the horns and make it your bitch. Like, what you do with those extra 4 or 5 hours a day that every human being has, unless you're, living in a third world country working the coal mines, like most people in developing countries have 4 to 5 hours of spare time every single day. What you do with that time is up to you. And the unfortunate reality is most people with those 4 or 5 hours, they're so drained and so tired and so just desperate and disheartened, and they've had. Have you ever seen Essence? Dark Crystal, right? Most people, when they get down to the end of the day, they're not ready to do anything with those extra 5 hours because their essence has been drained out of them. They've been sucked dry by the system. And so they get to the end of the day, the only thing they want to do is mindless entertainment because they're so tired. They're just like, I only have 2 hours of free time, 3 hours of free time. Please let me watch football. Let me watch, Netflix. Let me, please give me this little slice that I can keep for me. It's like this, and I get it. But there's another phrase: entrepreneurs are the people who are willing to do the things that no one else will do in order to live the lives that no one else can live. And I just think that that's something that has always resonated with me as a human being. What's up, Bill Noth? Good morning. Sleep 4 to 6 hours, drink 6 to 8 cups of coffee, conquer life. Pretty much. Thandar says this one is trying to figure out the next step. Sadly, the moons did not provide instructions or a map or common sense. Anyway, but like my brother, my brother's got 2 kids. He's got a successful ranch. His wife works. They both work on the ranch. And she has a day job. And then in his spare time, he has done game development with me for over a decade. And he had a successful... one of the things that he was doing in our early game dev days to make money, he was hustling. This is when he was still hustling. And he's still hustling, but this is when he was really hustling. He was taking... And I actually invested in this company. He would go out and buy on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or whatever. He would buy old Xboxes, PlayStations, Game Boys, handhelds, and he would bring them back and he would repair them, refurbish them, and then sell them. And it was, I don't want to say it was lucrative, but it was successful enough that it was profitable. And then I invested in it, a small amount, nothing serious. But I was like, you're doing this and it's working. Let's scale. Here's some money to scale it. And then he went and did that for several years, and we used that money, actually mostly, I would say about 60% funded our second game studio venture with the tabletop game and point and click and everything else. Like, our funding came, like a huge chunk of the funding came from the profits of that venture, were then used to fund that, and then what was left over, the Patreon covered our contractors and other stuff that all the other sundries. So he's always had a side hustle. For a long time, he was doing an excavation company and the ranch, and then he shut down the excavation company and went full-time on the ranch maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. And then they just expanded last year. I don't know. I think that there's something to be said for getting up early and just get shit done.
Fool girl. She'll get herself killed. Children. Never have them.
I agree.
The king insisted on a Morkel daughter for his forge wife. But then he decided to pass over my eldest. Now Ashika wants to prove him a fool for marrying her little sister. Malekith alone knows why Ashika ran off. Wounded pride sent her to Morkel descent, no doubt. Idiot. The girl will end up as Ogre Dun or a spider hatchery. Running off to Morkel descent is why Ashika's still unwed.
Alright. We are off. To the Morkel descent. We actually have something that's close there. Yeah, I think that's the key, Machine, is like you have to find the structure that works with whatever job you have, because everyone's got to work. We all have to eat. I mean, for a long time, like I said, I had client work for years. Even when I was running the game studios, I still had client work. There was only about, I think, 2 years out of the 10 years that I did game dev where I worked full-time in game dev. The entire other time I was working, I was still doing contract work. Like, this particular venture has been the longest time in recent years that I've, worked full-time on something. 'Cause usually I've had clients and side gigs, but this has been good enough to me that I've been able to be full-time on this now for almost 4 years. And knock on wood, it'll continue to be. Every year's different. I just looked at the numbers yesterday, and we are already, despite some of this, we had a bunch of hiccups with like physical therapy and a couple of cat deaths and some things that took us away from streams, but even with the downturns this year, when life happening, I've already made more money this year than I made last year, which means in terms of growth, year 4 was better than year 3, year 3 was better than year 2, year 2 was better than year 1, and that's all you can ever ask for, is that the net growth at the end of the year is a net positive. And I still have 1 month left, so I'm very interested to see where the end of the year ends up being. We will be doing a big analytics report, as we always do for our YouTube channel members. In early January, we'll be talking about the end of the year report.
Another find for your deep pockets.
Speaking of which, perfect time to do a commercial. If you're tuning in for the first time this morning, first and foremost, welcome aboard. You're about 3 hours into the morning stream. We're live on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and TikTok. Same place every single day. If you want to watch vertical format, you can catch it over on TikTok. Otherwise, you can watch horizontal format on Kick, Twitch, or YouTube. Support where you desire, watch where you prefer. Everything in between the streams happens on YouTube, including game guides, movie reviews, TV show reviews. I just reviewed Season 5 of Stranger Things last night. I'm watching Pluribus as well. Discussion videos. Yesterday we had multiple discussion videos went out. There is a Discord channel and a Patreon. There is all the social media channels that you might desire to follow. Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, X, I guess these days, Facebook. There's also a homestead channel for the cats and ducks and chickens and all the things that Chris and I do together as a couple. I am live every single morning from around 4 a.m. Central in the aforementioned places. This is the day job. I usually do 2, sometimes 3 streams a day. We usually do 3 to 4 hours in the morning, and then I come back in the afternoon and do another 3 to 4 hours in the afternoon. Sometimes we will do longer streams in the mornings, but that's pretty rare. Usually the only time I'll do longer streams in the morning is if we're playing like a new release and the traffic is really good and we've got like 150 people watching the streams. I will definitely play longer sessions when we have big audiences. Like with Dune Awakening earlier this year, we were rocking 350 to 700 people during the first few weeks of that game, and so I was streaming like 10 to 12 hours a day. Who wouldn't? It's a great dopamine rush and really good money. But on normal days like today, I definitely break it up into 2 to 3 different sections, and I take lots of naps. No, I am in Orsinium, which is the orc area. Rothgar, I think is what this place is called. Alright, we gotta make our way through. I am just gonna attempt to run through this cavern. Giant spiders! Fuck me! Not cool, man. I don't want to stop, but I don't know if these are the right tunnels to take. We'll find out shortly. I think we're good. Probably have to stop and defend myself here. Nope, we're good. I will also say my brother has been playing a lot of Star Wars: The Republic recently, but also he sent me this last night. He is playing. He's been playing it with his kids, but also he was playing it by himself last night. Hang on. It's Lord of the Rings. It's the Lord of the Rings Lego game. And he was like, you should totally play this. And I looked at it and I was like, I totally would love to play it, but unfortunately it uses, it's from like the last generation console, and it uses all of these sound clips from the actual films. So rather than having voice actors in the game, they use the voice, they literally just pulled audio from the Lord of the Rings movies and put it into the game, which is great for an immersion sake, but you can't stream that shit because it'll all get hit with copyrights. When did that get put out? Lord of the Rings Lego games. 2012? Was that really the last one? It's for the Xbox 360, which is the previous generation. Like before the Xbox One. Wow, so he's playing an older one. But it's backwards compatible on the Series X, so so it's available on the Xbox. No, hang on. It says on January 1st, 2019, all digital sales were halted. Oh, have they already done this month's games, Dribrom? Hold up. We are on the 2nd. I haven't checked the monthly games yet. Sometimes they don't show them until like the 3rd or 4th. Yeah, I don't see it yet. I'm still. Lego Horizon Dawn is going to be one of the free games this month. I didn't know if it was available yet. All right, give me 2 seconds, everybody. All right. Big patch coming to Fallout 76 today. It is the DLC launch today. I think Allie was saying today or tomorrow is the DLC for Destiny 2 as well.
Who are you? It doesn't matter. The Hand of Morkel is mine. Once I find it, which is harder than I thought. That's why you're here, isn't it?
Your mother has sent me to find you.
She... what? Why?
Worried about your attempt to embarrass the king?
My what? Does she even listen to me? She never listens. Honor of the clan, I say. You'll find someone soon, she says. All right. She sent you here to help? Good. Help me find Morkelden.
Who is?
The long-lost home of Morkel clan. The old poems say it was buried in ice and stone-marked thrice. See the statues? Morkel's stonework and very old. Morkelden has to be nearby, but well, maybe you can find the way in.
What do the statues represent?
The old poems of Morkelden's founding mention a heroic trio who rebuffed Winter's grasp and found haven beneath. Maybe they saved the clan from a tunnel collapse. Oh, there's some writing at the base of the statues. Couldn't make sense of it.
And you're certain the statues are the key?
Buried in ice and stone-marked thrice. The statues must reveal the way inside. I think there's an order to lighting the braziers, but I can't get it to work.
Oh, well, I'm gonna go look this up online, because I don't want to try to figure it out. Yep. The Hand of Morkel. So tomorrow, I'm not sure what I'm going to play this afternoon, but tomorrow I can tell you we're definitely going to be back in Fallout 76 for the morning session. The afternoon session tomorrow, I think I'm going to check out Guild Wars Reforged, which is the new edition of, like, the relaunch of Guild Wars that they're doing, which has full controller support. It's coming to the Steam Deck. Visual improvements, quality of life improvements, UI improvements. I'm not going to be doing a full playthrough of Guild Wars, but I do own everything from years and years and years ago. So I'm going to reinstall Guild Wars today so that it's ready to go, and then I'll just patch tomorrow. So tomorrow morning we'll do Fallout 76, and then in the afternoon we'll do Guild Wars Reforged. Today, I'm not sure what I'm doing in the afternoon yet. Probably some more Gran Turismo 7. Probably. I'm not sure what I'll do this afternoon. Order starting from her position is left, center, right. From her position. Well, hopefully they mean this left. Left. Center. Right.
That rumbling. Do you feel it?
Do you feel the rumble?
The wall shifted. Sealed away, but hidden in plain sight. Morkelden, lost among the ice.
Morkelden! Alright, this place looks pretty frickin' fantastic. Ancient city of the orcs. Is that a giant hammer?
That's it! The Hand of Morkel. It's in some sort of... What is that, a display?
And it's probably
Something
gonna...
they're tight. Of course we can't just take
Yeah, of
it.
course we can't just take it. I need a couple of minutes here, everybody. I gotta go give Lucas his medicine, so I will be back in a few minutes here. I gotta go find him first and then give him his meds.